overflow toilet, we'll call them that. You can't do it.
You gotta go to Canada.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
You could go to Canada and bring them in, but you get caught at customs.
right, one of the other scenarios that Mary gave you was when they do a meter change out or a malfunctioning transmitter. Okay, we know, we get into the house, get an actual reading now, that we've either been estimating or whatever. We get that reading, we know that they're either overestimated or it's primarily overestimated.
Overestimated, yeah.
So, I think what Mary's looking for is the authorization to correct that bill before we send it out wrong. We know we send out bills that are incorrect.
And it's all because of timing. If I were to discover something tomorrow, and I have bills going down, the bills go down to the finance department on Tuesday mornings. So if I were to come across something tomorrow, there's not a meeting,
I think the term abatement is getting lost in the whole
Yeah,
thing.
exactly, yeah.
so it's just, that account would need an adjustment, but, you know, because of the scheduling of the meetings and the timing of everything,
Now,
that bill's gonna go out incorrect.
now the one with, where a resident disputes the bill and requests an abatement. Okay, this is wrong, okay, I want you to investigate it, we investigate it, okay, they still insist that it's wrong, we bring it to you guys to get it abated. Those would still have to continue to come at the request of the resident or business owner.
That makes sense, go ahead.
I was just gonna make a motion that we adopt what the first two cases that Mary outlined, where, you know, it's our policy dealing with washers and toilets, and where system errors with faulty transmitters. And I might go as far as, in the case where there's written abatement requests, you know, outside leaks or whatever, if there's gonna be a billing issue, that we authorize, you know, the chair or the superintendent to okay them. I mean, if it, particularly if it follows our standard practice, and we have them, you know, fairly often, and the answer quickly is, we approve it because it follows our, you know, past practice. So that would be my motion.
So that would be the
That's a-
case typically in the case where somebody's connected to sewer and they get an excessive water bill because the hose burst.
Right.
We abate the sewer.
Right.
Yep. And the standard formula, average daily use subtracted by the high usage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would like to change something. I agree with you, Bill. But
Well,
where
we
it
have a
says
motion. I think we
there'll
got a
be
second.
oversight by the superintendent, I would say the clerk of the commission.
Clerk and who
The clerk of the commission,
only?
the clerk of the Sewer and Water
Yeah,
Commission.
that's been, usually the clerk's also the one that's supposed to check, sign off on the invoices.
I'm okay on that, if it's.
Follow.
That's what we do.
So we're trying to eliminate, for these two instances, the weight, okay? Now you're adding a weight again.
No,
because-
No,
on the
why do-
third,
why do you
not
say
on the
that?
two.
Oh, not, on the first, so you're on the, just on the
No.
third, that's fine, the clerk. The first two, we're trying to
Right.
eliminate. the-
We just agreed on that.
Okay, I thought you said.
So let's
the clerk.
get a second, and maybe.
And
Well,
then
your,
just a quick
your motion
discussion.
was very convoluted, we're gonna have to restate it, Bill, you were all over the place with that. We're gonna kind of pare it
Make a
down.
motion that we adopt the items that Mary listed in her note that she sent here. Bill adjustments due to board policies, washer/toilet rebates, rink/pool fill sewer abatements. And secondly, bill adjustments due to system errors/faulty transmitters, meter changeouts, estimation errors, that they be allowed to, not to require abatements, that they can be handled internally by the water department. I'll leave it right at that, and then we can address the third one.
Okay,
And what about the oversight by the clerk of the commission?
That's for the third one.
Huh?
Address the first two.
that's for the third item, we'll do that separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, Jeff, go ahead.
No, just discussion. Can you walk me through the pool rink fill abatement process?
So if somebody has to fill their pool from bottom to top, it has to be a complete pool fill. And there's a form that is online. We ask that residents write down the meter reading when they start and when they finish. And only because there's been times that we've run into
Okay.
that if it's 3 days of high usage. Basically, we would calculate it the same way as far as taking out the daily average, kind of like we do with the irrigation systems that are
Mhm.
leaking. And then we have a chart of dimensions of pools, what the gallonage is, so we just compare to make sure that what they use in cubic feet is
Okay.
in line with that.
Okay.
And then I can put it on the form, present it to the board.
But the
to
rink
sign
is,
off.
the rink the same?
The rink's the same, but rinks aren't as complicated as the pools.
My question on the pools is, why is it just for a full?
Because so many people top off their pools over the course of the year, they'd be,
So I'm thinking about me, to get my pool back up and running in the spring, right, it's below the skimmer. I gotta put 6,000-7,000 gallons in. Now, I'm on sewer, I'm not on sewer, it doesn't affect me.
right.
But, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people in that situation. They're not doing abatements on
Typically what
bad amount
happens,
of water.
what happens though, Jeff, is a $35 administrative fee,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
for.
Starting offsetting it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so some people don't
Given the cost.
even match it, so it's not
Yeah.
worth it for them to do.
Okay.
But we also ask for the pool liner receipt, if they replace the liner, so that's also backup documentation that.
Okay.
Okay, so it's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, be 4-0-0.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, and the other one, I think that, I don't know if you want to, since the clerk isn't here, I don't know if we want to give him a job he may not be willing to do. Want to take that under advisement, and so he's here to make sure he'll do that? That would be our intent,
So
to
why
vote to
couldn't it
have
be
the
any
clerk
member of the board?
authorize.
Why does it have to be the clerk? Why couldn't it be any member?
Well,
It
it's just
could in
because
emergency.
functionally, it's the way things are defined, and the clerk is the one that's supposed to check the invoices and so forth.
He could send a substitute if he needed to.
So, I guess, why do we need a review? It's a pretty clear policy. If it went through the meter, you pay for it, we abate the sewer. That's the way we've been doing it. We haven't deviated at all. The only exception was we had a very high usage and we adopted a lower tier rating. And I think in that exception situation, it would come before us. And that was on the water side, that wasn't on the sewer abatement side. But if it's straightforward sewer abatement, I don't think it needs to come before us. If it's something to do with water, we need to adjust the tier, I think it comes to us.
Okay, I think I'm going to ask that we, just because it mentions written, it's a written complaint, that I think it should come before the board until we all are here to vote on it. So we'll take that under advisement, the third piece.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Good job, Mary.
All right,
While we're on the abatement, do we just want
Yeah.
to go through them before we jump the bill?
yeah, do you guys have anything else? No, you all
We
set?
might have some questions on a couple of these
Okay,
abatements.
abatements.
Well, it's,
We might.
well, I know, well, no, Pat, you're also interested in monthly billing. There, discussion number 2, where we have,
Yeah, that might be a good one if you could take that one up now
Yeah.
too, Mr. Chairman, monthly billing.
Yeah, I would, hold on a minute. I would mention, I do have an email. Called out of town, cannot be here on the 27th, and wondered if we could reschedule the discussion of monthly billing so he could be in attendance. He's put a lot of work in on this, and he goes into a number of recommendations and things he wants to present. So, if you want to outline your proposal to these commissioners, it'd be okay, but I would hesitate
Well, the
to vote on this without him here, and at least give him a chance to have his
That
argument.
we maintain quarterly billing, and not even entertain monthly billing, because it's just not practical. Are any of the ideas that Mr. Mishra put forward different than the last ones? I would suspect.
No, what he states here is, let's see, he gives 3 of the ones, he's got several, but We have 3 to 5 million floating unpaid bills due to the 120-plus possible day meters to cash cycle. The cost of lost bank interest itself is more than $196,000.
I think the finance department would disagree with that statement,
And then,
That's an inflated interest comp.
and those are the people that you need to listen to.
right, I'm just, you asked me what he wrote in his email.
Right, it's not different than last.
And he's talking about the new electronics for move forward, monthly electronic billing. The cost will come down. And electronic signups are more technical, but automation will involve less human resources and cost us less in the long run. The major beneficiary for monthly billing will be families with tight budgets. Month-to-month billing is manageable when water and sewer costs are increasing every year. He'd hope to be here to make the argument, but he's out of town, so I'm just reading his.
I mean, being in the department for as long as I have been, and was, it's just not practical to go to monthly billing with the operation that we have. If you want to change out all of your equipment for millions of dollars and hire at least 3 additional staff, then it might work. But you need to keep in mind, we're not Eversource Gas, we're not National Grid.
Exactly.
And but would get credit from the state,
For monthly billing,
monthly building, yes.
we wouldn't get any credit. You might get a pat on the back.
Check it out.
I think,
Absolutely,
Well-
they want us to go to monthly billing, and they will look upon us with favor.
In terms of what?
I think.
When is our
There's
water
no-
management
there's no benefit for the
renewal
state.
due for renewal?
It's, then they don't want us to do it monthly.
No, I just want to know, when is our?
10 years.
10 years. So the pat on the back isn't going to come for another 10 years, since we've already gotten our withdrawal removal.
Oh, we can appeal it.
Appeal our own?
Yeah, we can appeal it, yeah.
Yikes.
All right, I think that there are, obviously, there's a divergence of opinion here, agreeing with you or disagreeing with you, and I think 2 members did look into this in some depth. And I think we should have a robust discussion, not tonight, though.
Well, the
And-
things
and
that
we-
the members
we'll try
looked
to-
into was drop counter. That's got nothing to do with billing.
Those were customer
Right.
care, those were,
So, well, but somebody drummed up these figures and studies about savings and man-hours and so forth. I don't know how that distilled out, but I think.
As far as drop counter goes and things like that, those apps, Steve, I think you came from a community that had it.
Yes, I talked to them, I think it was like less than 15%, people using it for the water system. They're really struggling to get people.
I heard there was
Yeah.
like less than 15% that actually signed up for it, and less than 1% of the 15% that signed up for it use it.
Yeah, I would just say, I'll turn it off to Bill now. I'm personally not persuaded towards monthly billing, but I hesitate to not have a robust discussion before we vote it down. And the person who was advocating for it is not here and asked us the courtesy with a letter to postpone the vote, at least till he's sitting here.
I
I'd
think
agree.
I agree with that. I think also one of the factors that's not being brought up is the significant costs of going to monthly billing. In our package, we have what it would go in for the finance department. And Mary, is Mary still here? I've talked to her, and based on how many commitments we are getting out, I think we'll need to have 9 people. We already have 3, so you'd need 6 more. I don't know where they'd sit. With that, they're all going to be paid, have benefits, et cetera. And the only way to get around that is to replace the method we are reading meters, because it causes, we don't get meter readings all the time from everybody, and it causes a lot of work. And to replace that,
Why don't we get meter readings from everybody? The MTUs are always transmitting.
if they're not being received, and it can be Yeah, Pat, believe me.
No, no, the thing is, I believe you, I think, the MTUs transmit continually,
There are some hardware issues though.
right?
Yeah.
Right,
And you're getting data from those meters all the time.
if the repeater and the collectors are not functioning properly,
Well, then they have to be.
I understand that.
Oh,
And they
that's the
don't.
answer. You mean
All
they're
I'm saying,
broken?
Pat, yes, for a
We need
long
to,
time.
we need to fix them.
And you either can get it fixed, or you got, replace the whole system, and that is, as Rick mentioned, gonna be millions of dollars.
So to that end, Scott, Steve, Mary, and I have been working with another company, investigating the advancement of the existing system, or potentially going with another type of
We
system.
will, I thought we had a subcommittee, so looking into that.
No, that was the drop counter thing.
Yeah. Anyways, I agree with, and Jeff, you agree we should wait for.
I think we should wait, but my personal opinion is I'm not in favor of going to monthly billing. I mean, as a commissioner and as a consumer.
Okay.
All
we
right.
have-
I just want to eliminate one of the things that he questions every time, electronic billing. We're governed by Mass General Law, Chapter 60, Section 3A, that says, no political subdivision shall require a taxpayer to take part in an electronic billing system. It's all voluntary. So we could never require everybody to go, anybody or everybody to go on electronic billing. We're governed by statute.
But-
So I just want that on the record so it doesn't come up every time, and I can leave this with you.
So we've got cloud invoicing, which
Right.
we
and
can-
1,274 people choose to have an electronic bill, but it's their choice. Anybody can pay online, but we cannot send all the bills out electronically
Yeah.
by law.
Until the governor decides he wants it.
Well, yeah, but I don't, you know.
How do utilities do this?
They send.
They have to still.
They have to send you a bill. You just choose to get it electronically.
No, I'm talking about, how can they manage to do it every month?
Because that's what they do. They have a separate billing department. We're doing more than just billing.
Well,
Water, they're managing the
Do we
water
need more
system.
people in our
Yes.
building department?
Right,
And
we
then
do
it's
more
gonna
than
be-
just collect water bills in my department. We collect real estate, motor vehicle, we do payroll in my department, we do all sorts of things in my department.
What percent does the water commission pay for your operation?
You'd have to check your indirect cost report that you got.
Well, you have to fill it out. You give it to the town administrator. What percent,
You know what, you'll have to look at the last report, because I don't know that off the top of my head.
you don't remember what percentage?
No, I do not, because we had the study done. But it is, you're just one part of the process of the collection in our
I
office.
understand that,
But I
right?
just want, instead of this always coming up, electronic billing, we
But the-
can't do it.
I think we offer what we're required to
Exactly.
already. We
Yep.
send
give
out
them all
manual
the
bills,
options.
we allow online payment, we
Yep.
allow electronic billing.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, we do, and we will take this up, I promise you, we'll get a closure on this. And we just, I think we do need to have the member, and that, I would ask the members to hang on to these two things. There's a memorandum in the packet from Mary Timmelty, and then there's a handout also that itemizes the three areas. Just hang on to those and we'll
On discussion
circle
on
back.
number
to-
2, okay? The position that would be dedicated to water and sewer, right?
If there was monthly billing, you'd have to have.
Right, it wouldn't be for everything else.
No, it would just be for.
Okay, so wouldn't that help for the water and sewer bills?
It's just one part of the whole billing process.
Yes, that's all we're concerned with, is one
you're
part.
No, Pat, he can't get the stuff
Right.
from our water department, can't get the information down to the collector's office any faster than they are. And if we stayed with our present method of reading with the MTUs and all the problems they have, we would need, I believe, another 6 people so that we could get them the information. And then by sending that extra stuff, they are going to need another person.
Okay, we need to start to repair this system.
Yes. Or
But
do
we
some-
can't, we keep not doing that, and we keep going on.
Right.
And I get complaints about this all the time. I never know when my bill is coming, I never know what it's going to include.
It used to be, that used to be a valid complaint, but they now, Mary has got it down so that between the high 20s and low 30s. So it's almost 30 days bill lag.
All right, we're
Didn't
gonna
they-
discuss this.
Yeah, so anyway.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in and helping us out. You do a great job. Okay. So we actually have three things to hang on to there for a future meeting. How about we'll do the abatements of those
Yeah,
signs?
let's do the abate. The abatements are signed, yeah.
All right, I'll sign. I'll make a motion, we accept the abatements as
Okay.
signed.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain? One.
Yeah.
Okay. 301. Okay. Superintendent's status report.
Thank you. So really, it's required since we last met, there's been no service leaks or freeze-ups. We did have a hydrant get hit on Fisher Street, it's been repaired. The work on Rhodes Ave continues, now that the contractor has the water main in that he was waiting on. So far, they're about 350 feet completed. There's another 900 feet to go, and then they can tie into Washington Street. Other than that, routine tasks, maintenance can be performed.
All right.
What was going on today up by the graveyard there on, I forget the name of the street?
Which graveyard?
There was a one, they closed the street, okay, off 27,
They're replacing a valve.
okay. It was half closed.
So I asked Scott if they were taking the old line out on Rhodes Ave, or they were just, they're just running a new one and abandoning the old one. So I asked if they can cut out a piece, Rick, for us to see a sample of what it looked like, the old pipe, if that's possible.
Oh, yeah.
And my neighbors are asking, when will Alton Street be opened up? The redundancy line will be on Alton Street.
Right now, they're still surveying that.
I know, I saw that. When's, this is the surveying part of the project. When are they gonna actually start to dig the street?
That I'm not sure about.
Okay, and how,
I would say next construction season.
all right, that's,
April.
yeah, this is,
It won't be.
and what, how long will it take?
It's not that long of a pipe, so a couple of months.
Couple of months? Okay, I'll tell. So, next year, basically, it'll start, next, maybe springtime. Okay.
Okay? All right. Do you want to get, Bill, you want to give us anything on your,
Well, as you've probably heard in the news that the EPA is proposing a nationwide standard for PFAS, and what they're recommending is 4 parts per trillion, which is like an 80% reduction from what the current Massachusetts limit. We have 2 wells that exceed the proposed limit. The water leaving this plant is over the proposed limit, and sometimes Scott says that the Willis plant is over the limit. Most of the cities in town in Massachusetts have a problem, have PFAS, and some of them are like us, who probably said, oh, we're okay right now, all of a sudden aren't gonna be okay. And I make a mention of that this may affect our chance of getting MWA water, only because I'm guessing that there may be many more communities who are saying it's gonna be cheaper to apply, particularly with no entrance fee. So it's important that we, act in haste to at least get our application in. And I make notion that Mansfield already has spent $8 million addressing their PFAS. So it's not a cheap thing. The proposal from the EPA is in comment period, so, potentially the timetables and maybe the limits or whatever are subject to change, but I think it's just something that we should be well aware of, and the potential for a change to our 5-year capital plan is that, well, if we don't get MWA water, any of it, we obviously have, 2 plants, at least one definitely, that would need to treat PFAS, and we'd probably have to address both if we're, every so often. And even if we
Are you
get.
concerned, Bill, that you're not gonna get MWRA water?
Well, no, I think it's just a possibility if there are others, and I think that the lady from Weston and Sampson seemed to imply that a community that was going to look for large amounts, because they're interested in selling water, and was it Hopkinton or Holliston or whatever, and you're looking at, Cambridge, at one point was taking 14 million gallons a day. I know Weymouth, which I think is probably around 7, that the MWA may be looking for bigger blocks that are gonna take it 365 days a year, as opposed to somebody that's looking to supplement. Obviously, if we were using our pumping and treatment capacity during this time of the year, we wouldn't know what to do with another 1 million gallons a day. We would be looking to use it during the summer. So I'm just thinking.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be overly concerned about getting shut out. I think we're well underway with the application process.
Well, that's good. I'm just, two objectives here. One, to sort of get it on the record, we're being recorded, that we are aware of the problem, where we stand, and that we may have to do something unless we're willing to give up, and go completely MWA, which I don't believe is what we're looking for. We're going to get some MWA water, but the water that we have right now is going to require
Right, so
treatment.
the consensus of the board is still 1 million gallons a day, correct? We're still
Yeah.
on
Yes.
that.
Still,
Yeah.
it would still be supplemental, but yeah, to Bill's
Yeah.
point, I think, it would be beneficial to look down the road to see what it would take to.
Well, we want that reserve clause in there that in emergencies and whatever, we have the ability to increase our proportionality.
From the 1 million?
Yeah.
Okay, because we need to know that now, and I'll tell you why. Because when they start doing the modeling, we need to see if more water than 1 million gallons a day can be conveyed through NOAA.
Well, let's see what the
So
threshold
that'll
is.
make the extent of the modeling
Yeah.
a much bigger project.
See what the threshold might be. If it's, let's say, the break point's 3 million a day, if we find out what it is. Because I'm not gonna pat myself on the back, but I've been saying this for 5 years, that this is almost a reinforcement of what I've been hypothesizing might happen. It seems that they're going down the road of being more stringent on the PFAS and coming up with more of them and tightening the screws on towns. And the people at home, we're not making these decisions. We're responding to environmental changes the government's making that it's out of our control. We can't say 20 parts per million is okay if they tell us 2
20
or
parts
4.
per trillion.
Per trillion, excuse me. They say it's 4, we have to comply with that. We don't have a choice, and they may be putting,
4 for certain compounds.
Yeah, it's 2.
yeah.
But,
But there's
issue is
unknown,
that-
there's other compounds
Yeah.
coming down the roadway that
Right.
we don't know
But
about.
the thing with PFAS is, it's very easily treated, it's very easily removed. It's a very simple process. It's the most basic of water treatment technologies in the world, activated carbon. As some of you guys know, we had it right across the street. We had
For
activated carbon.
Metabellas.
Right, exactly, same process. But the thing, another concern I think that might even rival PFAS is if you see all these train derailments lately.
yes.
You look at your Minebrook aquifer and look where those tracks are in proximity to those wells.
Well, that's another justification in making our case, is that we have more risk because of Route 1 and Route 95 and the rail lines that run through Walpole. Our aquifers are at risk of, damage from any of those that are out of our control. So I think this is just a good alarm to make sure we keep the ball rolling on our application and on our consultant.
Absolutely.
And make sure we get a report from her maybe next meeting and see what she's doing. I see you've got a thing in here about a meeting here we're gonna talk
Right,
about in a minute.
those are the things that were discussed at the last meeting. And those are they're not project milestones yet, but those are things that they need to get moving on.
If you tune in March, I think it's the end of March, I think I sent it out to you folks. There's gonna be an EPA Zoom meeting. Have you seen this?
No, I had some questions on your,
For Deer Island,
Well, no, that's something else. This is EPA. Deer Island is all upset about something else. I've been sending you emails about the town of Mansfield,
right,
Wellesley College, I forget a couple other places. How are they treating the PFAS?
activated carbon.
Are they doing a good job?
Natick and Mansfield have both installed activated carbon vessels, treatment systems.
Yeah.
And
What-
there's more of a benefit than removing PFAS with
Are they
carbon.
they're using GAC? or-
Yes.
And there was another one I talked, Mashpee. The government is doing theirs for them.
A portion of it.
Yeah, and what kind of remediation are they doing?
I'm not sure. It's probably carbon as well.
So that's the go-to remedy?
That's the best available technology for PFAS removal is activated carbon.
Okay, and if we do put a GAC unit, in, we used to have them, didn't we?
Two of them.
We still, okay. So the finished water, what's the parts per trillion on the finished water?
PFAS?
Yeah,
Steven
So,
Scott.
yeah,
16, right around there?
here,
what is it?
here, it's around 16. It goes down as low as 14 or below, but it hovers right in that 16 range.
And,
The
and,
lowest-
All right, so let me just jump in for a second. So that's the key thing, is, one of the things I think we should decide, should we have somebody with the expertise chime in on this debate about comments? That maybe it should be 16, not 2, or not 4?
Oh, on the
Yeah.
public comment?
Yeah, should we get involved in the public comment procedure before they set it in stone, what the rate is, what it
I'm
is?
not sure that, I mean, certainly no one, a layperson isn't going to, because you're going to have to say, well, I don't like the number 4, how
No,
about 16?
The voice of the town of Walpole and many other water supplies is heard through Mass Water Works Association. They advocate for each and every
Right.
water supply in Massachusetts.
Right.
And even
They'll compile a list of comments and forward those to the EPA. They're very active.
Okay, could we surveil that at the appropriate time, so we make sure our department gets a letter in? Okay, that would be good.
and
Thank you.
do we test, they call it the deadly 6? Okay, we
PFAS
test,
6, yes.
huh?
Yes.
Okay. Do we test for all PFAS, or do we just test for those 6?
There are thousands of PFAS compounds. It's
I
like
know that, I
5,000.
understand that. And do we test for
We test from one that's currently regulated, yes.
for the 6?
PFAS 6, yes, and also several others. And one thing to keep in mind about this EPA thing is that's not the only thing on the horizon. You got UCMR 5 coming up, that has 29 compounds, they're currently unregulated, 28 of them are PFAS compounds.
Yeah, there's hundreds.
Okay, could I ask, Rick, on this meeting, was this a Zoom meeting, or was this?
Yes. So
Okay, very good. I guess we don't need to read this in the record. I think that
no, it's just an
Commissioners should be
informational,
seen and noted that
informational piece to give you the progress as to where we're at.
March 22nd, there was a Zoom meeting between representatives of Walpole and Norwood to discuss next steps
Okay.
in our proposal, so, okay?
Just, I had a comment. I think we should have a representative from the commission
At those
as
meetings.
part of project meetings, and I'd recommend Bill.
Sure.
I don't know, John, any thought? I think we should have a representative.
I'll tell you, that would be helpful, and I'll tell you why I think it would be helpful, because when it comes time to present at town meeting, or
Yep.
wherever it needs to be presented, it's gonna be coming in all likelihood from the commission. So that would be a good thing.
Yeah. Okay, you want to nominate Bill? There's a second, I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor
Bill,
of
you-
having
I'm
Bill represent us
Yeah, I'm
on the
okay with it.
PFAS committee?
PFAS
Let me know when those
Subcommittee of
meetings are
One.
Well.
occurring.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 All right, 4-0. Thank you.
While we sort of on that topic, Pat sent out an email, and it, good morning, some items of interest, a 3.5% sewer increase, and then it's PFAS, the EPA PFAS. But back to the 3.5%. Scott,
The 3.5%.
3.14.
Right, but that was an overall.
And I've already
that was an
discussed
overall
it.
average.
all right.
What we
so-
need to find out, and I've already made overtures,
Yes.
for the algorithm. Okay, in other words, the budget for the entire Deer Island treatment
Okay.
plant has increased this year, or will increase, 3.14. Our assessment has increased,
It was 5 point.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, whether it was, what was it? Was it ours? Was it the
Same kind of
advisory
logic we tried to
board's
apply to you
wish?
guys when you
Was it
set
the
the
board of
rate.
directors? So, okay, that answers
and
that.
that's why we were at odds about the percentage,
Yeah.
because we're talking about different things.
Yes, okay, so that answers
3.14 increase
my
for Deer
question
Island.
on that. The
But we
second-
don't know the algorithm. Why, if the increase of the budget,
Well, you're gonna get on that.
I will try.
All right. The new
It's-
PFAS rules
it's
coming, I think
Byzantine
we
in its
addressed that.
complexity.
Then it's disposal of solid material from the Deer Island treatment plant.
Yes.
Are they gonna stop doing that? Are they gonna do something different? What's that? Could you
There's a-
explain
there's a-
on what that is?
Do you want to go through that right now?
Well.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
fast. The solids that they remove
Right,
are organic,
yep,
and in the perfect world, they'd be usable for fertilizer, basically. They actually have a fertilizer
Right.
called Bay State fertilizer. However, because we're really an industrial area, this metal called molybdenum, which is hard to say,
yes.
that gets into this particular residue. Okay, they think it's from the air conditioners on commercial buildings.
Okay.
Anyway, that metal stops it being used for food type things. If you
Okay.
put it on your grass,
Yeah.
that's one thing, but you don't want to put it into your garden,
Agriculture.
which limits the
Ah.
The
I
retail-
suppose we're already putting PFAS in there that, I know there've been farmers who fertilize their fields and now they got nothing that they can.
Is that what
put
you
in.
wanted to know?
No, well, that's, and then the last one is eliminating, I guess, combined sewer overflows by 30, and why was that of interest to us?
Oh,
Other than,
you've heard of well, I've talked about the rain tax.
yes, so this is,
Well, what's going to happen is that, and this is very unclear, because, we never got a letter, have we?
Nope.
All right. Some towns have gotten a letter saying, you're dumping your wastewater, and that
Yes.
needs to be controlled, and you're gonna have to pay to control it, because specifically, there's no help coming from the federales who
Okay.
made this law. So, like, for instance, the town of Dedham, I got a panic call from a buddy of mine in Dedham. He got a letter saying it was called, and I forget the wording of it, but it's wastewater utility fee. And that's to basically fix their sewers from having
Okay.
CSOs.
well, anyways, I appreciate you giving our updates there. I would like to make a motion that we allocate another 10,000 words for Patrick to describe these things in more detail.
Why do you think I don't write them in the thing?
No, but I
He's gonna be
appreciate
writing all
the
day.
information, and if you could just make it a little bit more than just a couple words.
Yeah,
then I
well, you know what?
Appreciate it.
Well,
I'd
maybe
appreciate
we
it if you
should,
stopped sending them.
all this, by the way, they record these meetings. So if you want access to the whole meeting, I can get that for you.
I think, if you sign up before, you can actually listen and you get it, because I have listened to some, but.
Listen, they have this, do you think it was a secret meeting of the CIA? You can't just tune into it. You have to be authorized to tune into it.
They
How
let
do you
me
get
in-
authorized to tune into it?
They let me in on a couple.
Not anymore. The last time we were in it, somebody started speaking Russian,
Oh.
so they said, okay.
All right, Mr. Chairman,
We
I'm
need a
I'm
lot.
sorry for the
Were
interruption.
you speaking Russian?
Okay.
Were you the one who
Yeah,
jumped
yeah.
into the meeting and started speaking Russian?
All right, moving along here. let's see, we have the abatements, we were gonna start into 79 Edgewood Avenue. Is there anything you want to say about that, Mary?
No, these are just the straightforward requests from residents that have, they're all sewer abatement requests and outside leaks.
Make a motion that we follow our past practice of abating the sewer for water that did not go into the sewer
I
on
just got a question.
79 Edgewood.
Okay,
Jeff has a question.
we could, on 79 Edgewood?
Yeah, just
Okay,
in
go ahead.
general, because 79, and I believe Lady Slipper as well, they also asked for water abatements. So, do you have correspondence with these people?
So what happens, Jeff, is they call the office,
Yeah.
and when they ask, we tell residents that based on the rules and regulations, all water must be paid for,
Okay,
whether used or wasted.
okay.
So then we suggest to them to send a letter in for the sewer abatement. So we make it known.
But they just, in the letter anyway, are still asking for the water abatement?
Sure, you can
Yeah.
always ask.
Or they ask the whole bill to be, you know, to get a credit on the entire bill. But we do have conversations, because we provide the email address for the resident to send the email. And we do make it clear to them about the water.
Yep.
Okay, so we have 79 Edgewood and 7 Lady Slipper, and then 1 Marguerite. Any other comments about those three? A motion to,
Motion to
Approve.
abate the water that did not go into the sewer for all three.
okay, have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, 2 seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400. Thank you.
And Scott has a sheet to be signed for the collector's office with the amounts on it.
And they're on, coming down the,
By the way, MWRA Advisory Board has a new executive director.
is it you, Pat?
So, yeah, I talked to him the other day. He's very happy in his new job.
Thank you.
Is he a former state representative?
Thanks, Mary.
How'd you know?
Either that or a senator that lost his election? There were no vice presidencies available at UMass, so we had to come over to the MWRA.
You're so
All right.
bad.
Moving right along, we have old business, MWRA connection. We talked about that. We have Jarvis Farm, a letter from Jeff Fisher. We can discuss that. Jeff, if you like.
So, we talk about this consistently. And I know Brendan's got some things going on with the rec department. They've been looking at how to use the facility. I think they're looking at a long-term plan. I know there's some question of some of the buildings. I think overall, as part of the rec department's, investigation into how to use the property, how best to, address using it, they're gonna be pursuing something long-term, probably some sort of capital improvement. I just think, we've talked about it, addressing the parking lot. I know Patrick is passionate about it. I just, as a board, I don't think it's something we should be pursuing right now. And, whether or not Rick continues to pursue that. That's where I'm at.
Regarding the parking lot.
Yep.
So, that is, it was interesting, just before, Mr. Fastenal, I'm sure has a good discussion to make. If the Recreation Department wants to be the regular user, maybe we should consider selling the recreational component of Jarvis Farm to the Recreation Department.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, I don't think that's possible because it was purchased for water supply protection purposes.
Well,
Although recreational uses are allowed on the property, I don't believe the board would be in a position to sell it.
well,
or any
it could-
portion of
It could be that
it.
we could reposition the funds from that to another water protection endeavor. In other words, it'd be a quid pro quo. We'd take whatever it is, $1 million, $500,000, and apply that to another water protection project and let them have the domain of the field or the, whatever it is.
So in terms of water supply protection purposes, the runoff from Morningside Drive dumps onto that site. So under the Town of Walpole's MS4 stormwater management permit, we're obligated to do some sort of best management practice, like a bioretention basin, and upgraded drainage system in that particular area. There were 5 areas identified, one of which was Jarvis Farm. Scott, Carl, and I are working with Landis to secure a grant for the design of those best management practices. The grant is actually, the application is actually due this Friday. It's $300,000 sitting out there. It's from the Blackburn and Union Privileges, groundwater protection. So we're trying to take advantage of that grant to get these BMPs designed. I think it would be helpful in us getting the grant if the commission were to write a letter of support for that best management practice on that site. I think that would go a long way in helping us to secure the funds. If we could do that by Friday, if the board is so inclined, that would be very helpful.
With the VMPs, are they gonna help the environment of Jarvis Farm per se?
Yes, yes.
How many VMPs are there?
There's only one for Jarvis Farm. There's another one at DPW. There's one at Town Hall, and I forget exactly where the others are.
I'd be willing to write up something on behalf of the board if, and make sure that Rick gets it by Friday.
Second that.
You wanna write a letter?
I will. I assume we're not opposed to best stormwater management practices.
Not last time I checked. Patrick,
Okay.
you
I
okay
think
with
that's
that?
kind of
Yep.
one of our missions.
Okay.
All right, are you gonna second that, Jeff?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
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 On-
Oh, Bill, make sure you send that around to the
Oh, yeah, I will.
commissioners
Yeah.
before we, yeah, okay.
Okay. The other
Thank you.
thing I noted in Jeff's email here, it's something that I've mentioned a number of times, is those organizations that have come, use the facility at Jarvis Farm over and over and over, we've had no problem, and it comes before us, it would seem that the rec department would be able to handle it. And we do have situations where, because we don't meet regularly, where someone makes the application and thinking that, like, put it in plenty of time, well, we didn't meet around, and it becomes a hassle of doing that, if it's been, hasn't been a problem, that if some organization has been using the facility year after year without a problem, that the rec department would be okay to approve that. Anybody new, anybody trying to do something new, different, or whatever, would have to come before us. So you mentioned it.
I want to streamline the permitting process, and then, I mean, is this something we pursue? I mean, you go up there on a Saturday morning when Little League's playing, and there's 80 cars, and that's been happening. And rec permits Little League, we have no involvement in that. We have no involvement in the rec department's program that they put on every summer. We don't get involved in that, and, there's always cars there. There's always been cars there.
Well,
And we don't have any evidence that we've got contamination because of activities on Jarvis Farm.
But I think that
When you do get it, too late.
there's two things to that. It's not, it is amenity for the community, but there's a financial component to that. And there's a environmental responsibility for that goes with that. And it's not for us to abdicate either of those two to another town department, particularly the recreation department. Streamlining permitting process is totally different than advocating our responsibilities, our fiduciary, financial responsibilities, as well as our environmental responsibilities, because others won't respect that. I would be looking more, actually, to shape up recreation to make sure, I'd like to know what positively they're doing to improve the environment of Jarvis Farm. Are they helping to maintain the shrubs, clean the leaves off the pond? What are they doing to make it a better place and protect it? And as far as the economics, when other groups use it, I want to collect money from them. I think one of the things that responds to Patrick, if we had more robust revenues from the use, we could have a monitor. We could have someone on a regular basis go up there when there is in use, before, during, and after uses, to check, to see if there's any leaks, any spills, to take photographic evidence, and to protect the area without having to build a parking lot for umpteen $1 million. So, and I think if we had more revenues, we could somehow get that type of protection structured, so it's common sense, not, environmental madness where we're paying a lot of money for something that really isn't gonna achieve what we want. I think there's some things we don't want to have be up there. I mean, it's not to be against Little League.
No.
I sponsored Little League my whole life in town, so I'm not against the baseball, but there are other groups, I don't know, someone wants to do pickleball and whatever, but other people want to do things that we don't want up there. Firecrackers, shooting off things in the woods in the,
Like, I could think of one, like the Cub Scouts does a rocket launch day up at Adams Farm. Would we want that at Jarvis? It kind of seems harmless, but personally, I don't think so. Maybe not, You've got, that may be something that we wouldn't want to do,
And in that case.
For an organization that we would normally approve something for.
Well, that's why I'm saying, looking at, the way I was interpreting that, if it's somebody that has been there year after year doing the exact same thing, that depending.
How do you know they do the exact same thing?
But we just approved McMorgan's for overflow parking, but the argument has always been about parking. But we rubber stamped McMorgan's, using it for overflow parking.
well,
Pat doesn't have the stamp, but the rest of us
No.
have the stamp.
You have the stamp. Actually, I do have a stamp,
Yeah.
but it's for town, it's for clerk of the commission. What we shouldn't forget, Jarvis Farm was a beautiful place, but it's not a park.
It's not.
It's an aquifer. And we bought it with the ratepayers' money, not the taxpayers' money.
It's
The
right.
ratepayers' money to be used to preserve our water. And it's our duty to protect it the best we can. And that's our charge. And maybe we need tighter restrictions. Maybe we should say you can only put X amount of cars. Maybe you can only put electric cars there. Maybe you have to bus people in. They can park at downtown and take a bus over.
maybe Jeff can look into, the other thing would be, these groups, do they pick Jarvis Farm because they think it's gonna be free or low cost? Or do they pick it because nothing else is available? The town's got the new sports complex now. Do the ball teams all really have to still come to Jarvis Farm, or maybe they have other options? I don't mind low or moderate use.
Yeah, the Little League, those are the Pee Wee guys. I think Pee Wee is the only one that uses Jarvis. All the rest of them, they use Morgan, Restano, Burt,
Yeah.
the Aggie,
Right, and I think those are like-
Old Fisher, all those.
I think those are like 7 to 8 or 9.
Those are little, like 6 to 8, yeah, those guys.
Instructional.
So I guess the point would be, we're gonna be getting a secretary, hopefully. We could probably somehow in-house still manage these applications. It's not to say that we can streamline it as far as rec goes, but still have some oversight, still have some of our policies, make sure they're controlled and implemented,
Yep.
and maybe find a better way because we still have this issue about the parking lot. With some of those funds, if we have the fee structure proper for that, we would have funds to have somebody monitor the parking and make sure there's not a spill up there, or to be able to get on top of it quickly before it becomes something. And if that's really what we're worried about, Patrick, which is I think what you are worried about, we can do it in a different way, you know?
Well, I don't care if there's a parking lot there in the end. You know, I would say just don't have any cars. But we're charged with protecting that piece of property because it's an aquifer. And if we knowingly let in hazards, and let me tell you, automobiles are hazards. And I've sent you pictures showing you, that they look like rainbows coming into the drains. All that stuff, where do you think it goes when they're parking at Jarvis Farm? That goes into the ground.
It's not a stop and shop
It
parking
doesn't
lot. though, where
disappear. These are chemicals that can last forever, but they can get into the water. And they do get in the water. So that's our charge, is to protect the aquifer. How we do it,
I think we protect it,
that's something else.
Patrick, I think we protect it by protecting the use and monitoring the use. But we set the guidelines, we let the rec department, as long as within our guidelines, that's it.
Okay, moving right along then, we have the North Walpole Sewer Connection. We had our meeting for people who weren't there. We did have a meeting on the 13th, and we had a good turnout, about 60 people. And they were very concerned and very informed, and were vocal. We had some good comments, good audience participation. I think Jeff Fisher did the hand counting. We took a straw poll, and I think out of the 60 people, about 10 of them raised their hand as being interested in connecting the sewer, and the other majority, possibly 50, indicated they were not interested. And we did get a number of letters. Most of the, virtually almost all the letters are not interested.
I think we got 2 favorable prior to the meeting,
Right.
but that was it. All the rest of the letters have been against.
So in terms of the budget, what's our next step? What would you like to do?
Well, I think there are a number of things that are raised, and I don't know if we can even cover it all tonight, but one of the things, some people felt that the information we gave was fallacious or not correct, and we underestimated costs, and they felt they weren't being given the full facts. That bothers me, because I think we tried to be very upfront and very conservative in what we gave. But nonetheless, and I think we may have been confused about the betterment charges, according to this.
Right, this, Commissioner Fasenello had requested that I dig up some information on the veterans as to how they're broken down.
So we were telling people.
That never got on the agenda. Excuse me, 1 second. The part that,
This is coming under North Walpole Sewer Extension.
Yeah.
oh, okay, because basically, we're paying, the ratepayers are paying 25% to create a subsidy for the new
Right.
people. But what's the rationale for that?
Don't know, but we decided to do it.
Yeah, but what's the rationale for that?
Well, beyond,
Is it arbitrary and capricious? Is there some social benefit? Is there some reason why we put this burden on the sewer ratepayers?
well, listen, beyond that, if you read it,
Can
we
you-
told them 75%
It
was
is
on the.
75% now.
Now, it is. The 1995, October 16th, run for seal letter shows 50%. betterment.
50%.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was a project-specific betterment.
Yeah.
It's 50, 25, 25, 50,
Okay.
water, 25 rate, 25 taxation. There was a subsequent town meeting in which it was changed. I can't find the vote yet. I'll keep looking for it. But it was changed.
Yeah.
But I would assure the people, if any of you are watching that were at that meeting tonight, that we gave you good estimates and they might be even, have been a little bit on the expensive side, and the intent to err on the side of being conservative, not to underestimate costs for you. And that, the intent was not to scare anybody, it was just to be honest about what the situation is today. It may, I think as Bill and Patrick pointed out in the hearing, that the situation changes over time. And it could be the government may come back in and have money available for sewer projects that would make it much less expensive for you at a future date. And the organic growth of sewer developments on different streets in the town may, in the future, also make it more accessible and less expensive for individual homeowners as well as streets. And we will look at the data just to see if there is some focus of interest on a particular street or a particular area. And I think as part of a letter, we would send a letter back to these folks, thanking them, letting everybody know what happened at the hearing, who, you know, the people that, how many showed up, and try to get a indication from them, just confirming what they've already said, unless they've changed their mind. So we have not only a count as a percentage of unfavorable and favorable, but also people who are favorable. We have logistics to find out if they are somewhat homogeneous in some street or some particular section, like High Street, that might be adjacent to a project that could justify an extension, a mini program, as Bill put it. So there are possibilities of hybrids. There is a possibility of thing down the road, but no one's forcing sewer, and particularly with the preliminary indications we got from the straw poll, it certainly wouldn't be logical to suspect that there, would be any further pursuit of the project that we hypothesized in our initial letter to North Walpole. If any other commissioners
I'm
want-
suggesting we send a letter, just
Yeah.
as you're saying,
Yeah.
so those folks who attended and didn't know what the entire, we are not going to sewer 155 homes. And as you say, there's a possibility, if there was a cluster somewhere, but just to put it to rest so that, people don't say.
Right.
So would you draft that?
Yeah, absolutely will, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now we have,
So make a motion to send a letter that we will not be pursuing sewer connections for the
I'll second that.
155 residents.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400. All right, then we have meter to cash,
And these are for Jeeps, I'm not comfortable.
okay,
unless
monthly
we have
billing.
per Jeep on hand.
So is there any other business before the commission this evening? If not,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
okay, we have a moved and seconded to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, 400.